All right, so here's our last demo of the day. What I'm going to do now is show you how to handle list items. So I think in a lot of instances as you're working on these recipes, you're going to have either bulleted lists or numbered lists, and there are certain ways that I'd like for you to style and handle the tabs and the alignments for these. So I'd like to show you how I recommend you do that. Um, First of all, I'm going to toggle back and forth between a preview mode and a mode where we can see all of the hidden characters here. Anytime you want to see what's happening with all your different tabs and returns and everything in type, you can always hide and show your hidden characters in InDesign. So if I hide these, you can see that all those little hidden characters disappear. What's nice about sometimes showing your hidden characters is it'll help you to know where, like if I hit two space bars here and then go back into like a preview mode, I don't know, I can't tell whether this is a tab or whether this is just a couple of spaces. So here this is a tab, here it's two spaces. It all kind of looks the same. But whenever I go to and show hidden characters, then I can actually tell that this is two hits of the spacebar, which in this case I don't want. I want these to all be tabs. So yeah, what I recommend is if you're doing a numbered list or if you're doing a bulleted list, rather than just using the spacebar as a separator, please use the tab key instead. That's going to give you more control over exactly how much space there is, and it's also going to allow us to do some other alignment features that I'll demonstrate here. So since all of these are set up as tabs, I can now do a select all of this copy, and I can open up my type tabs window here. You'll also notice the keystroke is Command-Shift-T. And so with my tabs window open, I can add and delete tabs, and I can also move the placement of those tabs here. And so you'll see I have left alignment tabs, I have center tabs, I have right align tabs, I can align things on a decimal point. We'll likely get into all of that later this quarter, but for now, let's just worry about this left justified tab. So there's a small gray space above the ruler, and that is where you will want to place your tabs, and that's where you can move them. If you want to get rid of them, just drag them off, and you'll see they disappear. If you want to add them, then just drag them back onto that space here. And so in this case, I want the placement of my tab to be 9 points over. You might be working in inches, or you might be working in the metric system, but regardless, you will get some kind of a measurement here. But for this purpose here, 9 points is where I want the placement of my tabs. And it's important to then kind of make note of what that number is, because it's going to come into play here in just a second. So yep, all my tabs set at 9 points. Now I can select this entire area, and what I'm going to advise you to do is go over here to your paragraph window, and the paragraph window has a lot of different features for how we can shape the alignment and placement of our text within a paragraph. And in particular, I'd like for you to focus on this left alignment tab or window. And we're going to bump that up to 9 points. And essentially, you're just using the same number that you just used for that tab. So you'll see over here that it moved all of our type within this text window. It moved it over 9 points. And presently, that looks a little strange, but we can now do this first line indent. And typically, in designing, we think of indents as only moving kind of over to the right, but we can actually do negative numbers. And if we do a negative number and go down to negative 9 points, again, so the exact same measurement, but just negative, what you'll notice that does is it moves all of our type is perfectly aligned, except for the first line. So in this case, rather than indenting the first line, we're actually out-indenting the first line. So the first line of each paragraph gets moved over to the left 9 points. So it realigns back with the original paragraph window or text window here. And now our bulleted list or our numbered list is really nicely organized. The numbers stand out, and then within each number, all of our type align. So oftentimes what you'll see is, how this looked to begin with. This is a very common way of formatting things where the second and third and however many other lines are all aligned with your numerals. I think it typically looks better, and I think it's also easier to read if we do what I'm recommending here, which is move that over and then do an outdent of the same measurement, and that's how we will get this kind of nice, clean list here.